Hey Zedheads, thank you for tuning in to today's video. We'll be talking about lending and borrowing horses in ZED RUN. We'll be talking about lending permits, agreements, marketplaces, and accessibility. Also, how to get a racehorse into the marketplace and how to borrow a racehorse in the marketplace. And then let's see how the price sharing and calculations will work out for the horse owner and the borrower. Don't forget to like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Bye. Is managing your ZED RUN stable eating away all your racing time? Focused stable evaluations will provide you accurate data based on your horse's past performance and give you the ZED edge. Win big, no hassles, no confusing calculations. Let us help you. Use the promo code Macedo at focusstables.com and we'll see you on the racetrack.
Lending and borrowing in ZED RUN. What is lending in ZED RUN, and how can I use it to my advantage as an NFT collector or horse racer? Lending in ZED RUN is a unique opportunity that allows horse racing enthusiasts to enter the race. Yes, you heard that right. You don't necessarily have to own the horse to enter the race anymore, no siree. Through lending on ZED RUN, all you have to do is borrow a horse and you are good to go. So, how does it work, and what's lending all about? Lending on ZED RUN lets new players join the games, learn more about the merch, and eventually get a horse of their own. What's more, you can even compete in the tournament using this feature. Isn't that amazing? Let's dive deeper into this feature so you can fully understand what you are getting yourself into. Also, this will help you decide whether borrowing or buying is better for you. Lending ZED RUN horses permits. If you already own a ZED RUN horse, how do you lend it? And where do you start? Typically, lending permits have zero value and are non-tradable. You can't trade your lending permits to another ZED RUN horse owner. So, how do you get lending permits for your collection? Well, let's find out. Players get access to lending permits by locking up their ZED tokens. That said, the first step to reaching these permits is by locking your ZED tokens. More importantly, the amount required for each permit is different. Therefore, if you'd like to know the exact amount needed for your specific permit, check the Manage Permits section. Additionally, players relinquish their lending permits by unlocking their ZED tokens. A single lending permit is required for each racehorse. Lending agreement. The lending agreement begins when the player borrows the horse and not before. That means it doesn't matter how long the horse stays in the market. The clock will only start counting once someone borrows the horse. More importantly, once the lending period is over, the horse will automatically return to the marketplace. Lending marketplace. This specific marketplace only contains ZED RUN horses that are up for lending and not for buying. Additionally, lenders will not have the right to choose which players borrow their horses, especially at the beginning. But eventually this term changes, and lenders have the right to withdraw their horses from the lending market if the horse isn't currently borrowed. Accessibility. Direct access to the lending contract is currently not allowed, and any attempt to access these smart contracts directly will automatically be reverted. Additionally, your access could be blocked from accessing the lending market. And ZED RUN. All about lending racehorses. How to enter a racehorse into the ZED RUN lending marketplace. Using the lending permits, ZED RUN users can enter their available racehorses into the lending marketplace. A player may select the Lend Racehorse button on the Stables on Loan section or the Lend button on a particular racehorse's card if they have one or more lending permits available. The racehorses will then be committed to the lending marketplace and available for borrowing by the other players as soon as the on-chain transaction is signed and confirmed. All in all, you might experience some delay when creating new blocks. The racehorses waiting for confirmation will be pending, and in case of sync issues, the transaction will be retired. All the same, for your racehorse to enter the lending marketplace, it must meet the following criteria. The racehorse must not have entered any race or gate. It must no longer be at the stud farm. The racehorse should not be set to lending already. The racehorse must be in the player's stable. No skin should have been attached or detached from the racehorse within 24 hours. Generally, the racehorse shouldn't be hindered by any feature. Ownership of racehorses. While lending out racehorses in the lending marketplace, the lender still retains ownership of their racehorses. In fact, at no point will the racehorse become the borrower's property. Racehorse owners can see any of the NFT racehorses they have engaged in the lending marketplace on the On Loan section in the Stables. How to manage your racehorses in the ZED RUN lending marketplace. If you're wondering how to manage your NFT racehorse while in the lending marketplace, ZED RUN comes with a new lending feature on the On Loan section in the stable. It allows you to choose whether you'd like your racehorse to automatically return to your stable or the lending marketplace at the end of a lending period. Also, the feature allows you to view the current status of your racehorse or retrieve it from the lending marketplace. All about borrowing racehorses. What can you do with a borrowed racehorse? Once a player borrows a racehorse, they can use it to enter paid races, free races, and tournaments. However, they can't breed or transfer the ownership of the racehorse, and within the period in which the borrower holds the racehorse, they will be responsible for paying the fees for race entry. A few things you should keenly note include: borrowed racehorses will only enter races if they have more than an hour left in the lending time. Any attempts to enter a race with less than an hour left will lead to the game as disabled. However, if you have direct contract calls, this restriction won't apply. Players will make direct contract calls at their own risk, especially for short lending times. NB, if a lending period ends before the racehorse completes its race and is returned to its owner's stable, the tournament payouts will go to its owner. What limitations is the borrower given? For the time being, you can only borrow one racehorse at a time. Players can only borrow racehorses from the Marketplace tab on ZED RUN's official website. A stable can't borrow its own racehorses. What happens at the end of the lending period? When the lending period expires, oversight of loaned racehorses is returned to the lending marketplace. If the racehorse owner has set a recall option, the racehorse will be returned to its stable. After that, the player is free to borrow another racehorse from the marketplace. Prize sharing and calculations. When borrowed racehorses enter paid races, the borrower is responsible for paying the entry fees. Paid racing. In paid races, when calculating how prizes are split, the borrower first receives back the entry fees before splitting the prize share. If the borrower wins no prizes or the prize is lower than the buy-in price, the borrower carries the race entry fees. Currently, lending fees are waived, but they will be introduced later. The community will be notified. Free racing. When it comes to prizes won through free racing, prizes will be split according to the lending agreement on the lending marketplace. Distribution of rewards. Prizes will be automatically sent to both the lender and borrower at the time of payout on a 50/50 prize distribution. Thanks to the lender and borrower's smart contract,